A major medical study finds those so-called sonic attacks experienced by American diplomats working at the U.S. Embassy in Cuba actually changed their brains and did so in some fairly significant ways. This comes to us from a study out of the University of Pennsylvania's medical school. It was just released. The problems U.S. Embassy workers complained about, though, began back in 2016. They started, you may recall, with reports of hearing intensely loud sounds. CNN senior national correspondent Alex Marquardt is going over these findings. So what else did these Penn researchers find, Alex?
Well, Erica, what is clear here is that the symptoms that the doctors studied don't match up with any specific disorder that they know. So now, almost 3 years later, we don't know who was behind it. We don't know what caused it. But what we do know, what is very clear from the study, doctors say, is that something did happen to the brains of these people at the embassy. And what they did was study 40 different officials. They studied their brain scans. They carried out MRIs. And they compared those to 48 control cases to get a sense of what was different in the brains of those officials. And what they found, according to the author, one of the authors, was that there were group differences all over the brain. They said they called these variations in brain structure and functional connectivity, which includes whole brain white matter volume. The conclusion, the authors say, is that something happened and we need to look further. So something happened to their brains. One of the problems with this study is that they didn't have access. There weren't MRIs for these same 40 people from before these attacks, so you couldn't really do a before and after. But essentially, in layman's terms, Erica, if the doctors say that if you brought these 40 people into a brain injury clinic and told the doctors to study their brains without knowing what had happened to them, it was as they would assume that these people had been in a bad car crash or in an explosion in the military. There is a long list of symptoms that these doctors observed in these 40 people. I'm just going to list a couple of them. They include sharp ear pain, headaches, vertigo, disorientation, problems with memory, concentration, balance, eyesight, hearing, sleeping that lasted several months. They reported feeling mentally foggy or slowed for months. Now, Erica, as you noted, these attacks did start in late 2016. We have lumped them together, calling them sort of sonic attacks, but the range of what was heard by these embassy employees was wide-ranging. They described intensely loud sounds coming from a specific direction, buzzing, grinding metal sounds, piercing squeals, and humming. But doctors say it was not the sound that caused these injuries. That was those sounds that they heard, they say, was simply a result of the exposure. To what? We still do not know.